I'm working with someone on a one-to-one basis, and this person is doing cold calling, right? Cold calling businesses. That is the lead gen strategy. I don't care who you are and what you say. You will never convince me that there's a better method to reach people and get faster feedback and get clients faster than picking up the phone and calling people cold, whether they're individuals or businesses. There is no faster way. And that includes running ads. I don't care how much money you have. Calling people on the phone is the best lead gen method. Now, not everyone's going to do that. And not everyone's business is set up to do that. Okay. But that is the best method, bar none. Knowing that, it's also the hardest. And that's why people don't do it. And that's why it is the best, because it is the hardest method to do, because people can't get over themselves and they get way too fearful of calling people cold on the phone, because they literally think the world is going to end. Like, that's how bad it can be for some people, and it paralyzes them. Whatever you do for lead generation, like, pick a lead generation system that works for you and build an effective system that allows for limited distractions, because this will never not be true. Lead generation will always be the most important thing that you're doing in your business, especially in the beginning. Like, if you don't have leads, you don't have a business. You have nothing. You have like a very expensive and time-consuming hobby if you are not dedicating time, effort, energy, dollars, resources, all the things to making sure that you get in front of customers that you're generating leads. And if you have 3 hours per week to work on your business, like 2.5 of them should be spent on generating leads. It is that important. Now, I'm going to go back to when I used to generate leads. Like, I've been cold calling people since I was 25 years old. I've gone door to door. Like, I've done everything, or business to business, you should say. But when I was doing cold calling for the real estate business, my office was set up a little bit differently, a lot differently actually. And I had my desk, and then I had where my laptop was, and then I had a credenza behind me. I would literally grab a list. Okay. So I had a list of leads that I would call. I would turn around to the credenza, and I would grab my phone. And the reason I did that is because I knew that I would distract myself by looking at a computer. Like, I would research before I called people, which is what all the students did. Like, they looked up the properties on Zillow, they did all this research, and they didn't get any calls done, or they got way fewer than they should have. And then they wondered why they didn't get any deals, or why they didn't move forward, or why they weren't creating any type of activity. It's because they were distracting themselves. So I turned around and I just called people one after the other. And I didn't care what people said. I let go of the result. I just went through the list, and I didn't stop until I was done with the list or my time was up. Like, if I said I got 45 minutes to call, I called for 45 minutes, and I didn't call and then go do something else. I called, spoke to them, wrote the note down, called the next number, and I just did it until it was done. And that allowed me to call way more people in a shorter amount of time. In 45 minutes or an hour, I could call 30, 40, 50 people. And other people had the same amount of time, and they were calling like 5 people. And I'm like, something's not right. And I knew what they were doing. They were distracting themselves. If I'm doing anything that's related to lead gen, I always create that environment where there are 0 distractions. And I also understand that some of you don't necessarily have that environment, but there's a lot of things you can control, which is you don't have to have 15 different windows open to do lead generation. If you're creating a piece of content, like, create the content and do it until it's done. Create it, then edit it, then post it. The point of this is, the one that I'm really trying to drive home here is, we always have to make sure that we're working on the right stuff. And if you're not working on leads for your business, if your business is launched, like, if your business isn't launched, then you can wait on that. But like, the second the doors open, like, you got to tell people about it. Really, before the doors open, I would start telling people before you even open the thing, because that does a couple of things. Number one is it holds you accountable. Like, I'm opening it on this particular day, and I'll let you know when I'm ready to roll, when it's open. And then you continue to tell people about it. I talk about Mindset School in everything that I do, but I'm also generating leads by following up, by creating YouTube content, by running advertisement, by DMing people. Like, I'm doing it all the time. And it really is the first thing that I think about every single day. And even when I'm not doing the business, like, I'm always worried about that. And I'm obsessed with it because I know it's the thing that matters more than anything. I was talking to this gentleman who was making the cold calls, and I told him that you are so far ahead of so many people because people won't even make the calls. I remember when I was in the real estate mastermind that I just couldn't get people to make the phone calls. And they had every excuse that you could possibly think of as to why they couldn't call, like all these distractions and all these excuses. And I'm like, this is a bunch of garbage. Like, you're lying to me. You just don't want to do it. Just say you don't want to do it. You'll feel better. I get it. It's scary. It's frightening, but nobody ever died doing cold calls, right? Seriously. I mean, they might have, but it's not because they were on the phone. Listen, the hardest thing that you can do, cold calling, also has the biggest ROI, has the biggest payoff, because you'll get live humans. And look, I've called business owners. I've been calling business owners for a long time. They appreciate it. They do. You think they're going to run you off and be like, they know what it's like to have to do that, because they are business owners. So they appreciate somebody that's like knocking on their door. Like, hey, I'm looking to maybe tell you about my services. Maybe I can help you. And I told this guy that I'm working with, I said, you are so far ahead. And the fact that you're doing this, you don't even have to be good at it. You can be mediocre and you'll still get clients because you're doing what people are not willing to do, and they just won't do it, and they won't do it ever. So I want you to just think about this when you're generating leads, is that if you have any type of hesitation or hangups about what people will say or think, or what they may or may not do on a call or on a DM or in an email or any type of interaction, everyone's thinking the same thing too. And they will let that own them, and they'll never do anything. So if you can simply just get past that and show up, you will win. You will win. You do not have to be the best on the phone. You do not have to be the best at creating content. You do not have to be the best at YouTube videos or sending out emails or sending out DMs. You just have to do it, and you have to do it consistently, daily, long period of time. And by default, because other people won't do it, you will win. You will get clients. You will make sales. That is all that you need to do. Also, by default, by doing that for a long period of time, you will naturally get better. You will get better. I was way better on the phone a year after I was cold calling in the real estate business than when I first started. And that was just because I just kept doing it, and I kept tweaking, and I kept making my scripts better, and I was helping others with their scripts. So 1 year from now, whatever you start, whatever lead generation strategy that you're starting with, you will be so much better if you keep doing it and you keep adjusting and you keep making tweaks and you're committed to getting better and better, that you will get the results much faster. The last thing I will say about lead gen, and I'm going to leave you here, and as always, leave anything in the comments. When you're doing lead gen, you need to make sure you're tracking your information. You need to track your data, what you're doing, like reach outs. Because if you're not tracking your data, you have no idea how you're performing. And I'll give you a perfect example here, which is when I used to make cold calls, I used to track the number of dials that I made, how many people I spoke to on the phone, how many leads I got, how many emails I would send out, how many appointments I got, how many offers I would make, and then how many deals that I would get. This is specific to real estate, and you can make this specific to your business. And you track everything. So how many calls did I make? In what amount of time? How many people did I speak to live? How many of the folks that I spoke to live turned into a lead? And let me define this for you. A lead is anyone who you can call back again. Okay, not what you think they're a yes or a no. Like, a no's are leads. Unless they say, take me off your list, don't ever call me again, and tell you where to go, that's a lead. I used to have this rule in the real estate business when I was buying houses. I would say they're either selling their house to me or they're selling it to somebody else. And until their house is no longer for sale or they sell it to someone else, I'm going to call them until they tell me to stop calling them. And that is the attitude that you need to have in business. You have to be relentless. And they might not be ready now, but they might be ready in 6 months or a year from now. Just because they say no now, you don't give up. You keep going until they say, literally, unsubscribe me, don't call me anymore. Tracking the data is so important, because if you don't track the data, then you have no idea what's broken. If you're just making a bunch of phone calls and you're not getting any results, you'll say, well, cold calling doesn't work. It does work. There's something that's wrong. Either the data is bad, or you're not talking to enough people live. Or if you are talking to enough people live and you're only converting 10% of those live calls to leads, then you have a script problem, and that can be fixed. You can take those metrics all the way down the line that I said and look at it, look at the data, and in a matter of seconds, you can say, okay, this is what's broken. This is the thing that I need to fix. And then all of the other parts of your lead generation pipeline will get better. All right. So to wrap this up in a I got my hot pink shirt on today, so I'm a little animated here, but I just want to drive this point home once again, is that lead generation is the most important thing that you can do for your business, especially in the beginning. And it's something that never gets stopped. Like you stop doing it, your business goes away, right? And then make sure that you are limited with your distractions so that you can be as efficient as possible in the limited amount of time that you have to generate leads. And then after that, make sure that you're tracking everything so that you know what to tweak, you know what to change. If you're not tracking, you're losing. Like that is such valuable data for you to analyze as a business owner. You guys got to start thinking like founders, like business owners. Like this is a business, treat it like one. And you got to have the right information so that you can make better decisions. All right. Thanks for listening to me. Drop your comments.